Now I have got a text. You see that text by any chance?
Yes, we do.
Yes.
Okay, I'll read this to you because I edited it down from 40 pages to 20. No, I'm just kidding.
I was needing a good nap.
For those of you who don't have your reading glasses on, the X23 box car was adopted by the Pennsy as a standard box car in 1912. It was the first 40-foot standard box car, nominal length, and it was also their first built with a steel underframe, steel body framing, and wood sheathing. Technically, it is known as a composite single sheath house car. It was also the first Pennsy railroad boxcar to be built using a combination alphanumeric designation, as all previous boxcars had been identified only by alphabetical characters, XA, XL, etc. This is an X23. The class of X23 is built at a light weight of 48,000 pounds, nominal capacity of 100,000. Cubic foot of 2682. The first car, 40,001. That's very optimistic. Was built in the Altoona car shop and was placed in service in 1912. Between 1912 and 1915, when the last were completed, 6,911 X23 cars had been built by 5 different organizations. The railroad had built 1,011 at its Altoona shops. Press Steel Company at McKees Rock built 3,000, and Western Steel in Hegwish built 600. Now, what Hegwish is right near Greg and I, which is I had no idea.
Oh, that's a stop on the South Shore, isn't it?
Yes, it
It
is.
is. It is. And Standard's car at Butler, Pennsylvania built 600.
I think it's on Metro Electric too, actually.
The basic configuration is also the basis for the R7 refrigerator car, which I will talk to in a minute and show you some pictures, of which Pennsylvania had 3,304. They made them out of stock car. They made a stock car out of it called the K27. They had 25. X24 automobile car, which was a double door car. They had 2,000 of them. So there's a lot of these cars that were built with different modifications. Over the years, various improvements were made, including replacing the original roof with a lap seam roof. 2DF8, that's a real popular truck that was underneath all sorts of Pennsylvania boxcars and freight cars, flat cars. Replacing the original arch bar. KD brakes were upgraded with AB brakes, and Creco doors were replaced by Youngstown doors. The 3-panel doors, I don't know, I've seen a lot of X23s in pictures, and it's sort of 50-50. During 1943, the Pennsy was experiencing a shortage of cabin cars. You know what a cabin car is on a Pennsy? It's a caboose. But we call them cabin because we're special. So 75 class X23 boxcars were converted to cabin cars and designated as NX23. As a class, they began to fall out of favor. They fell out of favor because they were wearing out. Just plain, they beat the heck out of them. As a class, they began to fall out of favor for revenue because of age, having been replaced by more modern all-steel cars with greater carrying capacities. They began being removed from service. Many of these now old, out-of-service cars were transferred to work equipment, X23 camp cars. I got pictures of them. When the shortage of cabin cars was relieved, these were also put into service as work cars also. They were assigned to work train service, etc. They lasted into the Penn Central era, and they actually lasted into Conrail. There was a couple stuck on a siding somewhere, and they were still there 10 years ago. Most of the X23s were work car, tool and material, and supply cars. And boy, if you get that wrong at a Pennsy contest, you'll never hear the end of it. The conversion from revenue to work included installation of door ends and 4 rectangular windows on the side of the car. The Pennsy cabooses or cabin, oh God, I said caboose. The NX were converted to work car. They retained porthole style windows. I always thought the round window was a neat thing. I always thought that was Raymond Loewy. No, it was pre-Raymond Loewy. They lasted in the 60s and the 70s. And then you have all these different subclasses. The X23, the X23A Coke car. They had a steel floor in them, and they would pile Coke ready to be on it. And you had to shovel it out. X23 round roof, I never found a picture of it. I want to do one, haven't found it. And there's some, you can read this because this is the last little bit here. I'll pause a moment. Okay, I'm done. Here we. Okay, here's a standard X23 number 6030. Or 630, excuse me, 562 630. Now you can see all this lettering here. It is divided up between the frames, the trusses, and everything, and they are murder to decal. Okay, I mean, just a real pain in the neck. Now we come to the fun part, changing slides.
Just click the
Ken,
arrow
try
button.
see if you hover over the right part of that screen, if you get an arrow.
Oh, I will. Hold on. Well, you guys are in the picture.
Yeah,
I'll get rid of you.
hover just to the right of that.
There's the arrow.
I see
See
the
that
arrow.
arrow?
Yep,
Yeah.
there it is.
Oh, how about that?
Hey, all right.
Okay.
We can teach old dogs new tricks.
Thank you. Okay, now this is a Crico 3-panel door. I've had the opportunity to try to move one of those. There's a reason why there's 2 handles on it to move. One is, of course, ground level, and the other is when you have the giant next to you to help push on that top handle. It's a tough one.
Notice that the siding has changed. It's vertical on this car. On the previous car, it was horizontal.
No, it was vertical.
No, they're both
No,
vertical.
vertical there
I'm
too.
sorry. Yep.
Yeah.
But I
Okay.
know, I've watched a fella down in Florida has redone the resin kit so he could put vertical siding on it. My mistake. We'll see if you have a picture of one. I was going to ask when that was done, when they changed the siding from vertical to
Never saw
horizontal.
anything. I've read a lot about it. I've never read anything about that. So I don't know if it was a large group of cars that had it done or just a couple.
Yeah, I don't know either.
The cabooses, caboose rebuilds had horizontal siding. It's an article in Model Railroader from, I think the 1970s.
Now, one thing I ran into was the circle keystone here goes right up to the edge of the roof. And some of them, and there's a lip there. There's a steel lip, about 1/4 of an inch thick. And some of the decals in the photographs of models show it sitting down a little bit. And that's in error. Now here's a very original car with can you see my cursor?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. With the arch bar trucks, and of course they were taken out of service because of failure. These 3 plaques on the side were not brass; they were cast iron, and they gave basically a truss plate and a dimension plate. I'm not sure what this one is. But again, this is,
And you
These were
should be
gone
able to
after
zoom in
19
on that photo. Can you roll your, yeah,
Wow, look at that. Yeah.
United States Safety Appliances.
standard.
Coupler information, I'm sorry, I thought that was a truss plate. Coupler information, type of valve, triple valve it had on it, and then all the dimensions here.
And
Now-
sublettered for another railroad that the Pennsy controlled or owned.
Where's that?
PCC and St. L.
Oh, yes, definitely. I thought I would put this car in there because of you guys with the M&STL. I thought I'd just honor you guys. With,
Thank
I
you.
miss, your little card, those little plaques on there may have been before it was mandated that they stencil that stuff on the car.
possibly, yes. 1919 is when they were gone.
Yeah, because the
Here's your
builder's
double
photos
door.
were the,
This one has 4 plaques.
Hmm.
Yeah, it does.
Oh, and a interesting end on it. Yeah.
I don't think that's gonna be clear enough to read them.
Nope. Nope.
Yeah, it's got the flat end.
Plate end. Yep.
That's a
Wait.
door. It's
No,
got
it's not.
hinges.
Oh, it is. It is. It's got the hinges.
Where?
Oh, yeah.
In the end, yeah.
Oh, it does. Look at that.
Yeah, they
Wow.
can open that up to move the autos in and out on the end.
Right.
Again, the old fart detective agency wins. Yeah, you guys are good. Oh, I did zoom in on that. Yeah. This was the Pittsburgh, Columbus, and Cincinnati and St. Louis line.
Mhm. Which was how the M and St. L was able to transfer stuff to the Pennsy without doing it in Chicago.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. And here is a work car that with the rectangular windows, because you couldn't go horizontal on them, they'd hit things. Same car, 10 years later, and it still exists.
Wow.
Still has the Carmark cut levers too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Look at that.
You guys put those on your models?
Yeah,
Yes. Yarmouth Models makes a very nice
I've
set.
got them. I've got them. I've got a whole bunch of them, as a matter of fact. What I don't have is the mobility in my hands to get a hole. And what do you bolt it on? You put a nut bolt washer set on that, to hold it on?
No. Just usually drill a hole, put a pin in the
Yeah.
hole. The Yarmouth models have each arm has a drilled hole. Slide them on, position it, touch it with CA, and it's your set.
Okay,
Now, some guys pin them, but I think that's beyond the call of duty. I think CA, like I say, drill a hole, put a pin in, piece of 10 thousandths wire, slide them on, a little bit of CA and set them.
okay, thank you.
Oh, pretty cool.
Neat car.
Yeah.
Isn't it neat?
Westerfield makes that kit, right?
The window cars that the Pennsy had.
Makes them look nautical.
It does, yeah.
It's the yellow submarine.
Yeah.
24-inch crabs.
Yeah, big one. Yeah.
And here's a car that's being restored. I'm not quite, it's a work car. I'm not quite sure what they're going to be doing with it. If it's going to be a work car and restoration, or if it's going to be put back into a box car. Okay, now we're into models. Okay,
Hmm.
this is a Westerfield kit. I think he did okay on the windows. I do think a lot of those cars had one-piece windows put in at some point that they didn't go up and down. They weren't, two-piece
Double
window.
hung.
Yeah, double hung window.
Mm.
And this is right because on the cupola, or excuse me, on the bay here, they did blank them out.
Oh,
Now, these are the X23 Rapido is coming out with.
Hmm.
I thought I'd put a plug in for Sean. And two different colors. This is FCC. Basically, it's called freight car color. In the Pennsy term, FCC is freight car color. And then this one is, they call it Tuscan. It's not. It's boxcar. It's their version of boxcar red that didn't last a long time. And a Fruit Growers Express reefer. What I don't get is I have never seen the inside of one of these and how well it was insulated, because it's a single sheath and they're missing. If you had outside sheath on this thing, an outer sheath, you would have more insulation. You could fill it. But
Sure.
this, they did on the inside. If they put any sort of insulation in there, they lost capacity.
but notice it says ventilation refrigerator. So they're using ice bunkers, so they're just trying to keep it cool, not real ice cold in there. Because notice it does say ventilated refrigerator.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I think when it's ventilated, that means that they open the hatches and leave them
Yep.
open and let the air flow through.
Things like fruit were carried in them, let's say, that way. Yep.
Sort of like a swamp cooler on a car.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
these things were just dumb to be made into reefers because there was no room inside. But that's a Pennsy, you know.
Oh, I know. I know.
They sure were minimal on the size of those ladders.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they're fun to build. There's 3 pieces on the Westerfield kit to each ladder.
Yeah.
I think he's changed those now, but they used to the sides and the face were different pieces. I built this car and the regular box car before.
You build a few then. Okay, now you can't tell me they're going to have air flowing through that.
Yeah. No kidding.
Built that one.
Because you'd have nothing but empty space at the end of a trip. And these are prototypes of the Rapido kit coming, or Rapido car coming.
When did they add the Craco doors? Or not the Craco, but the corrugated doors
As needed.
as needed?
As needed. When these got all beat up and were just shot, they would put these on with a new runner or new rail on it. And another plug for Rapido and the different variations that are coming. B&O even bought some of. And the car I bought from John, right?
No, for me, I think.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dave. Yes, you, sorry.
Ah.
I got things pretty well lined up as far as keeping things in a straight line. So I was happy with that.
Ken, looking at the car, do you have any pictures of prototypes that have the ladders with that many rungs on the right
I-
side of the car?
Didn't notice until you just mentioned it.
They seem to get the ladder correct on the end.
Yeah, I didn't notice that until you mentioned it just now, comparing to those cars we saw, like this one. which are
That's
just-
5. The other one had 6. Model had 6,
Yeah.
this says 5.
Well, you know, it's. What can I
With
say?
that many
Custom-
cars, it's possible that some had those ladders.
So
That's
this
right.
was a custom brass model that goes back quite a way. It was a venerable thing when I bought it.
And my caboose for the evening, which is the end of train, is the same pictures I started with. So I'm done.
All right.
Oh,
Nice
you were
job,
talking
Ken.
about the round roofed ones.
I,
The late Stan Rydarowitz would cut the roof off a X31 and put it on a Westerfield one. And now isn't Rapido coming out with the round roof version 2?
I don't know. I haven't seen that yet.
Okay, just
Yeah,
curious.
sorry.
But they're not hard to make. You just
Hey,
don't put the
Ken?
time.
Can you go
Yeah.
to that yellow one that you said was a Westerfield? There was like this big monster minor brake wheel on there.
Hmm.
I'm just curious about that. Clark, where, you know, that Wabash kit needed yep, there it is. See
Yeah.
that brake wheel? Look at that monster. That's a Westerfield kit?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, he made one.
That's a monster minor brake wheel. Okay. Now I know.
Yeah, that,
So
I call it a
Westerfield
ship's
has
wheel. It goes with the portholes
ship wheel?
for
Ken, thanks for
steering a
going back
boat.
there.
Hmm.
All right.
Yeah, very nice. Well, nice job, Ken. Appreciate
Yeah.
you putting that together for us.
Well, I now know how to do this when my speech on cameras go.
Uh-huh. Well, we're glad to give you that practice.
I got 100 slides to show and.
All right. That'll be great. Next week, we will have Jason Clockey giving the presentation from Naperville on on Rochester on his layout, which was the last area that he finished up. So we look forward to that. And then we'll be into March. I don't know if we have anything lined up in March yet. So if anybody has anything they'd like to show us, let us know. And that'll be that. I'm a little behind on posting the videos, so I will get to that hopefully this weekend, and we'll get the last couple. We had a Michiana meeting on Saturday with Chuck Hart, and so we'll get that going. And otherwise, we'll see you next week, same time, same station.
Okay.
You guys.
Have a nice
Nice
night,
job, Ken.
everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Take care. guys.
Yep,
Yeah,
thank you,
nice job,
Ken.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.